Welcome everyone to a Tortuga Power channel update. In the background here I'll be playing Project Zomboid, a really CDDA start. This is from Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. They have a really bad day start in that one. So this is Project Zomboid's like throwback to that really terrible start. And we'll see the starting conditions for this scenario are just ridiculous. You start bleeding and drunk, totally drunk, so I'm going to be moving in one direction with the keys, but my character is actually going to be moving in a different one because that's how inebriation plays its role in this game, that you can't move in the right direction. So that's what I'll be doing in the background, just playing Project Zomboid in this start. A very fun scenario, but a tough one. I'm not sure if we'll make it. Actually, I am sure that we will make it because I have pre-recorded this and now I'm doing voice commentary over it because I find it's sometimes very difficult to talk about one thing while I'm doing something else. So when I'm talking about something which isn't related to the video or the gameplay I'm doing, it can be a little bit challenging. So, and that brings us right into what I am actually going to talk about. There will be a bit of a downtime for video content, a lower frequency of videos being put up on the channel just for about 2 weeks because I'm going to be defending my PhD thesis right before Christmas. So as you can imagine, this takes a lot of time, and I've been kind of coasting in the last 2 weeks off of a whole batch of recordings I did 2 weeks ago. Pike and shot campaigns was all recorded at one time, or like several times. It was a couple occasions, but most. Okay, yeah, here we are. Almost the building's on fire. I forgot that was one of the main conditions. We're bleeding, drenched, running nose, injured, and then that bottom one is completely drunk. I think that they use a different description. So we just got to grab a few things and then, excuse me, get the hell out of this building because it is on fire. And that's what makes this start kind of hilarious. And it's also just as fun in Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. Maybe it's something I should give a shot. Oh yeah, man, utterly shit-faced. It's you and me against the world. I love you. I love you. Anyway, something like that. Okay, so I'll have this dissertation coming up, and I don't have any time to record right now. I'm sure that doesn't surprise anybody. So I did my backlog of recordings. We're completely through them now. I might be able to get one more scenario of the historical Pike and Shot campaigns up, but I won't be able to get into the actual strategic campaign mode, which is added in with the Pike and Shot campaigns. The actual campaign mode, I should say. Won't be able to get to that, and Distant Worlds universe is going to slow down quite a bit as well. I would be lucky to get up more than maybe one video a week now. That's really the best I can promise because things are going to be incredibly busy until Christmas. So, that said, at least for the next week. At least for the next week you can expect almost nothing. So, the one exception to that is going to be Rule the Waves, the Succession series. I will try to devote as much time or any time, or maybe just lose a little bit of sleep, or record in a somewhat less intelligible or in a somewhat depleted state. I can try to record some Rule the Waves Succession stuff. Certainly not how I prefer to record, but if that's the cards we're dealt, then I would hate to see the Succession series just sit idle for too much of a time period, so we'll get to those. Now, since this is a channel update, I will also mention a few other things I'm thinking of getting into. I want to there's a whole lot of Civil War hype right now, and I know that most of that is due to Ultimate General Civil War, but I think we might just try to ride that hype train into Ajod's Civil War 2, which is a fantastic strategic, like top-level, think Hearts of Iron, but for the Civil War. And I've been really meaning to do that for a while, so I'm going to try to get into that. It might be just a pipe dream because I'm still trying to learn the game myself. Also, another one is To End All Wars, yes. So another Ajod game, this one about World War I. I was reading, I'm in the middle of The Guns of August. Fantastic book by, I can't remember the lady's name, but it's all about the World War I, talking about the different leaders and how the whole mess of World War I got started. So that's another idea, was to play To End All Wars. I was debating between that and, gosh, I don't remember. There's another World War I game, which I didn't end up getting, but it's hex-based, whereas To End All Wars, Ajod, they don't do the hex-based stuff. Commander the Great War. Commander the Great War, something like that was the other game. That's the hex-based one, which I think is a little bit easier to pick up. I understand the principles of that one a little better, but okay, those are some ideas. Probably, if those get done, they might not be the very next thing to come out on the channel. Certainly the first thing to come out is going to be Rule the Waves. We have the Succession series, and then I'll be doing the Japan playthrough, which is highly anticipated. I can't wait to get into it. It's been so long since I did like a single player Rule the Waves scenario, and I feel like Rule the Waves is still really picking up steam as a game, so that's pretty cool to see that it's becoming more popular, and then people watch my old series. I'd like to get a new series, get a new one in, because a lot of people are commenting on these old videos about stuff I'm doing wrong, stuff that I already know how to do right at this point. Yeah, I did it wrong then, but if I could go back and do it differently, I now would. So, the other one was eventually Ultimate General Civil War. I do want to do a series on that, although there's so much content from that game out right now that I'm sure that if you're interested in that game, there's plenty of stuff out there for you to watch. So we might wait a little bit for the hype to die down, and then we'll get back to that one. That's just kind of how I do it. I'm not trying to ride the hype waves. We might do a little bit of Factorio. That's one of the games I'm kind of doing right now in my own personal time, just because it's hard for me to think, and I need to do games which are kind of thinkingless games, at least for the next week or so, while spending these really long hours. My days are, in the last week, it was like 14 hours days every day, and didn't get home until very late, had to go to sleep right away, so impossible to record, and even impossible in most cases to even do something to unwind. But if I was to, I don't have enough time to do like advanced tactics or these more complicated games. I usually just sit down, jump into something where I can do, it's mind-numbing. Like Escape Velocity Nova is another example where I just start trading, stuff like this. Okay, let's see, is there any other... Oh, I was looking into Transport Fever and the other Train Fever. I think the Transport Fever is the successor to. The game appears to have a few bugs still. I'm not sure if it's quite yet time... Whoop, almost dying here. I'm not sure if it's quite time for me to play that on the channel. I don't mind playing games which are somewhat underdeveloped, but I've seen a few things which were discouraging, and we'll wait on that one a little bit. I am still very interested in doing it, but hopefully... I mean, it's better to do it... The better the game is, the more people are going to enjoy it, including myself, and I'm pretty sure that if you don't like a game, your videos on it are just not going to be as interesting. And what's the point of doing a game, recording for a game you don't like anyway? This is a hobby for me. YouTube one is not going to change into any kind of career ever. So I have no... If I'm not doing this for fun, what the heck am I doing it for? Okay, so last thing we have Rule Waves Succession series will be happening. I really like the Distant Worlds campaign that we're doing right now, the series, but that one's probably going to go on for quite a while still. I imagine that one will get to around the 50 or 60 video mark before that series comes to an end. And yeah, one of the things I really like to do on my channel is I like to finish series. I really dislike leaving series unfinished, which is why there's stuff that still haunts me, like Software Inc., the original Escape Velocity Nova series I did like ages ago. I probably wasn't approaching it quite the right way, but stuff like that. I don't like to leave channel undone. So let's see. Is there anything else I need to talk about? I know that there's some things I've been mentioning I want to play that I'm not getting to here. Even now, one just popped in my head since I was talking about Escape Velocity Nova. There's Star Sector, a few other things, but I want to keep this video a bit shorter. So, and I also want to update my channel art, not my not my avatar, but the background, the one which is currently a picture of Hegemony 3 and Distant Worlds merged together. And yet, although neither of those are war games, well, maybe, yeah, I don't really think Hegemony 3 is a war game. Maybe. But I have the title War Games there. So it's a bit of an antiquated background for my channel. So we'll probably do something about that pretty soon if anybody has any interest in helping her. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. Maybe I can do a giveaway for channel art, something like that. So that's going to wrap this video up. Thanks to everyone. Oh yeah, the last thing I thought I'd mention. Wow, dirty bandage, and I forgot we actually have glass embedded in this wound on the Project Zomboid character. It's a bad situation. You'll see that in a second. But yeah, it's been a year since a year ago. I remember over Christmas I think I was at less than 100 subscribers. So we've come a long way in a year. Just in case I don't really talk about this before the end of the year, before the new year rings in. Yeah, it's been an enjoyable ride so far, and thanks to everyone who's been a part of that. It's a lot of fun we have a lot of mature discussions and a lot of discussion of strategy and tactics, which helps me to improve, and I really appreciate that. I don't really want an echo chamber where people just tell me you're doing well. I really appreciate when, I mean, there's the names I could list them for you, the people who give me good advice and we have a good dialogue. So I appreciate that. And we're up to 1,400. I don't think it's a surprise. I would expect about an order of magnitude increase, like per year or so. So we were at 100. We're at just a little bit over 1,000 now. Maybe by the end of 2017, this channel will continue to grow. Who knows? Obviously, this is a big transition period. I don't know if I've really talked much about my PhD. I do quantum physics, so that's why I like numbers so much. I guess that's why I do quantum physics, because I like numbers so much. Although the numbers in quantum mechanical systems are really screwy. You have superposition, entanglement, all these weird things. But yeah, that's why I come home and I play games that are simple. They're classical, classical games. So yeah. Well, I lost my train of thought, so I'll just call this video to a close here. So I hope that everyone has a Merry Christmas, if I don't talk to you before that, and Happy Holidays, all those things. Stay safe, and that's it. So I'm sure I'll be posting a few videos, but I'll be getting a lot more around Christmas time. And until that time, take care.